evening, everybody. Welcome to a special 2025 prediction episode of the Hog Talk podcast. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're on our YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, however you're watching us. Thank you for joining us tonight as we are bringing you our 2025 Thursday edition of the Hog Talk podcast, presented to you by Vision Exteriors and powered by FanDuel. And as always, we're coming to you live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows coming to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. Tonight, we will bring you our game-by-game predictions of the 2025 season, and then we will go over some picks presented to you by FanDuel. Adam, 2 days away, we are seeing Kool-Aid flowing all over the land of Arkansas, wondering why we're not ranked, picking 8 to 9 wins. But like Sam Pittman said, let's roll the ball out there. Let's play. Let's see what happens. And we have arrived.
I mean, we're to the point that I'm more on Sam Pittman's side of, how he's approaching this season than the media is. We've seen the jumping back and forth between, I'm predicting 9 wins, and then now, no, it's 7 wins, and then it's, we got Jack here that's at 11 wins.
Hey,
more power to you. If it happens, like we've said before, more than happy to eat crow. Then we have the full-on sunshine pumpers that are the big media, if you will. It's one of those that it's put up or shut up time. All you can do is, step foot on the field, play ball, and see what happens. Obviously, I don't think any of us, which we'll get into our predictions, have too much worry about this weekend. We know what we want to see, and we'll get into all that, but I'm ready for it so that we can finally stop talking about the what ifs.
And before we get into the predictions, week 1's here, and this is a gimme game, Alabama A&M. Adam, what is your expectations of what you're wanting to see out of this team week 1, and what will be your takeaways? What are going to be some takeaways you want to see from the game on Saturday?
I want to see Taylon Green not get forced out of the pocket. I want to see more consistency, more quick decisions on his part. If he's deciding to run, to pass, his reads, I want to see him not get pressured, to be completely honest. A team like Alabama A&M, I get that they run a zero defense. I get that they're going to be blitzing. But at the same time, the size difference between the two teams, they should not be in the backfield. It's one of those things that I want to see Taylon and the majority of the first team out of the game after the first series of the third quarter and let the backups get in. I'm ready to see KJ Jackson and what he has. I don't see why we don't have at minimum one running back at 150 yards and another one creeping up on 100, if not over.
Yeah.
A game like this, there should be no reason that you do not ball out on all sides of the field. And, like we've talked about, there's a lot of questions on the defensive line, on the defense. I don't think we're going to get a lot of our answers in a game like this. But at the same time, you've got to go out there and show something. If there's any boneheaded mistakes, we've talked about this. We talked about this last season. We've already talked about it this season, kind of like in the Stanford-Hawaii game. If you make a boneheaded play, you've got to come back from it. You've got to bounce back from it. You've got to get it out of your head. But don't go out here and make stupid plays, stupid decisions, flags that shouldn't happen. Whatever. You've got to play a clean game. And I know you're not going to the game 1, but how do you bounce back after those mishaps?
Yeah. For me, this is dress rehearsal. This is the game where I want to see 60 some odd points on the board. And the reason why I'm saying that is I want to see the ball spread out, establish your run game, get your run game going. And we know Taylon Green can run. Use this as dress rehearsal to, you're going to get your yardage. Do not get majority of your yards rushing from this game like you did against the UAPB game. Use this game to really get in rhythm with your other receivers. Use this game to read the whole field. Use this game to get your running backs in there. And if you have two guys that have over 100 yards, or you want to mix it where all three guys and you could get 250. I'll go back to the Brett Bielema stuff, 250, 250. Get to where you're rushing the ball for 250 as a team, 250 yards passing, stuff like that. I think Talon has 350, 400, depending on how long he played in the game. But to me, this, if you're going to have penalties, I'd much rather have now where you can analyze and have those mistakes, blown coverages, because we know you're going to outscore this team. Get all the rust out of the way this game, because I'm telling you, next week, even though you might blow them out, they're going to come with heat. They're going to come at you. They're going to surprise you. They're going to hit you in the mouth. And that's where the test is going to be. What happens to when Arkansas State hits you in the mouth? Are you ready and prepared to bounce back and then blow them out of the water? But game one, simple. Spread the ball, run game, and don't get blown. No blown coverages. You know, you not might get every pass or interception or whatever, but do not let them get behind you and get these chunk plays, because everybody else is going to start picking up on it.
100%. And, you know, it's, we've argued, or not really argued, we've gone back and forth on this offense. And is it truly in the hands of Bobby Petrino 100%? And I think a lot of us have been on the, no, it's not, even though we're being told otherwise. I want to see this offense go for those kill shots. You know, if you have the, I don't, you know, going back to the Arkansas LSU game when Bobby Petrino was head coach in Little Rock, Ryan Mallett, just before halftime, everybody thought they're going to take a knee, touchdown to Kobe Hamilton. You know, if you have that opportunity, go for it. Like, we should be done in this day and age of college football that we put the, you know, pump the brakes. Keep your foot on the gas, keep it going. Run up the score if you have to run up the score, if you have the ability to run up the score. Because like I've said, if Ole Miss is given the opportunity, if Missouri is given the opportunity, if whoever is given the opportunity to run the score up on Arkansas, they're going to. So every opportunity that you get to, you damn sure better make sure that you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just means you're spreading the ball out. If you're scoring 70, you've established your run game. You've gotten multiple people wide open in the passing game. But also, this gives Bobby Petrino, and this is another wrinkle that, you know, with Bobby Petrino going up to the booth, I think it's a great move because of the communication. He can sit there and communicate up 15 seconds before he can analyze what's going on. Now, we'll see what happens when SEC play comes, because if he's in the booth and they know, well, we can communicate up to 15 seconds, we know the SEC defensive coordinators, and they're going to sit there and they're going to analyze, all right, we're going to make our switches from 15 seconds and up to the pre-snap. Okay. But I do like the idea, because the communication, he can sit there and talk to him, and again, dress rehearsal, see how that rolls.
I'm ready for it. I know a lot of people are skeptical on, you know, Bobby being in the booth. We've talked about it. I think last season he was in the booth for a game or two. And a lot of us, you know, there were questions on him being on the sideline to be able to, I mean, essentially yell at the players when he needs to, get them in line, whatever. But a game like this, I think he's better suited to be in the booth, to see the outlook from up above, see how everything goes. And it's one of those things, if at halftime he deems that he needs to go down there, then go down there. But at this, you know, there's no reason, in my opinion, with the communication that they are able to have, you know, up until 15 seconds, look from up above, so you have a better view of what the defense is doing. Because if there's anybody that can read a defense and know where these players need to be, it's Bobby Petrino.
Yep. And with that, you're going to hear just a disclaimer. You know, we're going to be going through our game by game predictions. So Alabama A&M, you'll probably hear a couple of times, because we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to do our week picks, and then we're going to go into, you know, over unders, point spread with our FanDuel picks. So we both separately did our picks, but we both came up with the same record, same games, win loss. I don't know how it happened. It was not pre-planned. So what we'll do is we, of course, keep it short and sweet with Alabama A&M. We know what our predictions and our thoughts are about this game, but dress rehearsal, lesser opponent, a team where if you have this high-powered offense, you should rout them by halftime, get this thing over with, and then move on to week 2 against Arkansas State.
100%. Get in, get this game over with. Don't look ahead to Arkansas State. Don't look ahead to Ole Miss. Go in and get it done. Handle your business. Hopefully, come out unscathed. And at the same time, just get ready for Arkansas State, because that's going to be a big game, no matter who wins and who loses.
And Adam, moving on to week 2, that matchup with Arkansas State in Little Rock. We both have a win. What is your key? What is your deciding factor on having Arkansas win this game?
I think this is a game that Arkansas has to win, and I hate that I'm saying that. But for Sam Pittman, I think we're all in agreement that if you lose this game, you're not going to make the trip back home.
Yeah.
You're going to get left. They'll drop you off at Hot Springs on the way home. It's one of those I personally want to see in this game, especially after our conversation with Kara Ritchie a couple of weeks ago. And where Arkansas State is, the players that they've lost, I think you have to win this game by about 17 to 20 points. I think if you win this game sub 17, you have a lot that you need to address. They're coming into this with new players and new positions, several unknowns. There's no reason for me. I'm throwing out the window what happened last year. Them going toe-to-toe with Michigan and almost beating them. Throwing that out the window. I think that this is a game that you need to win by 3 scores or more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because one, it shows me you're looking ahead to Ole Miss. You can't afford to do that in any game this season, because you need to be focused game by game what's going on. I have it a win. I have it at a 28-point win. I'm going to, go out there and say Arkansas scores 40 on them, maybe gives up 17 to 20, depending on how things roll, or, this thing gets out of hand and Arkansas State just kind of throws in the towel per se. But no, this game in Little Rock, Sam has already said that, he doesn't want this game in Little Rock. I mean, there is a lot of kind of caveats to how serious are they going to take this game?
Mm-hmm.
And they need to take it very serious. It has nothing to do with what Arkansas State can upset you. It's the fact that you need to use these 2 games to get everything out of the way, because after that, there's outside of maybe Auburn, Mississippi State, there's no other easy games on this schedule. So you get in there, roll in, roll out, and then get ready for Ole Miss next week. So, and then moving on, Ole Miss week, our first loss of the season. To me, because it's on the road, it's Ole Miss, it's your SEC opener. I'm very leery, because you'll hear me when I talk about like A&M, Missouri. Until you win these games, I want to see. I'm going to keep my stance until you can prove that you can win these type games. Ole Miss, there's a lot of questions with a lot of these teams on who they have coming back. This isn't the day and age where you have a 4-year starter at quarterback, or you have all your receivers coming back. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns in all of the SEC. I'm just going by what depth defensively. We know Ole Miss likes to air it out. Arkansas is very thin on the defensive side. How physical is Arkansas State going to bring it on the Saturday before? I have this game as a loss.
This is a game that can go either way. I believe last time we were in Oxford was KJ Jefferson's, last game in his home state, essentially. And that was a game that became a shootout. And that was a game that I feel like, left a bad taste in Lane Kiffin's mouth. And then we saw what happened last season. We got blown out by Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin typically has their number. And this is, I think, going to be a game that's going to be no different. Hopefully it's not as bad of a blowout as last season was. I hope that Talon Green this game, I think maybe one of his biggest road games that he's had so far, meaning this game could kind of set a run ahead of them if they were to pull it off and win it. I think that boosts your confidence. Um, but if a complete blowout demeaning loss could make you struggle the following week when you go to Memphis.
Yeah.
So this is one that I don't have the warm and fuzzies about. I don't think it's going to be a favorable game for Arkansas. There's a lot of unknown with Austin Simmons, Ole Miss's new quarterback. But here's the thing: is that one thing that Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin do is they get quarterbacks. So this is a kid that I think could do some damage. But at the same time, there's so much unknown that it could be one that he's not ready for the big spotlight.
Yep.
Because just like it's our first SEC game, it's their first SEC game too. They just luckily get it at home versus us being on the road. So no, I have this being a ugly game. I hope it's not, but that's where we're at.
Yeah. And we've seen Arkansas in years past make average quarterbacks or average players look like Heisman contenders. And again, you look at Ole Miss, Tennessee's going to avenge a loss. A&M has our number. And then, of course, Texas, Sark still has that loss in his mind. LSU always plays us tough. And then Drink and Kiffin, I think they want to beat Arkansas just as much as Arkansas wants to beat them. Drink a little bit more and give him the edge because just how he acts after a win. As much as I talked about the offense in the first two games, this right here is going to be my defensive, I guess, audition. How I'm going to view the defense. How, if they can get pressure and really go on the road and win and hold their own, I will feel a lot better about this team. But if Ole Miss comes out on fire and they have another blowout, it really might change how I feel about the Mississippi game. I don't know. That's a toss-up, or a Memphis game, sorry. But I do have this one as a loss, but this is going to be my swing game per se, because this is going to be where where your offense is, and I think this is where your defense gets tested to see the depth and the skill set on how well this defense holds up.
Mm-hmm. And, moving on to the Memphis one, you want to talk about swing games with the Ole Miss. The Memphis game is my swing game because this is a game that you should win. Even though it's at Memphis, it's one of those things that this is one of those areas that are going to be a lot of Arkansas fans traveling, going to be a lot of Memphis fans. I think this game could be ugly. I think it could be low scoring. I think this is a game you could look at it and it could be 14-10 at halftime, 14-9 at halftime, something like that. This is one that if you come into this game not prepared or reeling from a loss from Ole Miss and looking ahead to Notre Dame, you're going to lose. You can't think about the game before. You can't think about the game after because Memphis will be ready for you. And this is a game that I think that if you end up losing, will set the tone for the rest of the season. Because I think that would be too much to overcome after that if you lose this game right here.
To me, I'm looking at this as like the Oklahoma State game last year. This is a game that could go to the wire, could even go in overtime. How do you come out of this? Do you will yourself to win, or do you, like last year, piss it down your leg and let Oklahoma State, come back and win? You can't, last year's game, Oklahoma State scored 18 points in the fourth quarter and then scored in overtime to win. You had this game in hand and you let them score 18 in the fourth. You can't let Memphis hang around in this game because this is Arkansas State with more talent. You can't let them hang around in this game. They know how to beat big opponents. This is one of them teams that wants to beat their chest of beating an SEC opponent, whether it's Arkansas, Ole Miss, LSU, Mississippi State, Auburn, anybody. They want to prove, because the Big Ten and the SEC have big targets on their back with the way things are going. they are going to do anything they can to sit there and try to say that they beat an SEC team. I have it as a win because I think they're going to swing the momentum and they're going to pull this one out, but this one's going to be scary. But I do have Arkansas winning this, either holding on to win or I would say 7 to 10 points. Maybe if it's a last minute drive or 2-minute drive, run the ball down the field, score, or you hold on for the win, you score and you hold on your defense. But this will be, in the famous words of Lee Corso, closer than the experts think.
Mm-hmm. And, moving on to Notre Dame, I think one of the biggest issues with this game before it even gets started is the fact that they let this be an 11 o'clock game.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Whatever. Notre Dame, it's one of those things that, do I think that Notre Dame is a national championship team? No, I don't. Otherwise, they would have won one in recent past, at least. But Marcus Freeman is doing a hell of a job there.
Mm-hmm.
Continuing on from Brian Kelly, he left him in a good spot. Notre Dame's going to be ready. Notre Dame's going to be, ready to come out and smack an SEC team in the face. And unfortunately, that's going to be Arkansas.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if this game was at morning, noon, or night. It's not going to go in Arkansas's way. I know that there are some that are predicting the upset. In my heart of hearts, there is no way, shape, or form that I can predict an Arkansas win against Notre Dame.
No. I mean, they start the season out with Miami. Then they got to play A&M, Purdue, and then Arkansas. So they're already going to be, you think this is, in the grand scheme of it, it don't matter if they make it or not. This is a team trying to get to the college football playoff. This is a different level team. This is not a team in your conference. This is a team out of a conference that does not have a conference, that has to win all of these games. And whether Arkansas is on the bottom or mid of the SEC, this is still a resume builder because they have to win all their non-conference games they don't have the chance of playing to get into the college football playoff. They're already going to be playing Texas A&M. So if I don't know, I'm pretty sure they're going to beat A&M, but they're going to come into this game. And because of that, they're not going to overlook it. I think if this game was flip-flop with Notre Dame's schedule, where they were playing Arkansas first and at 11 o'clock, and then they played A&M after, maybe they're looking ahead. They're just coming in thinking they're going to just run all over Arkansas. I don't have it as a blowout like a lot of people think, but I still think that depth, size, everything just takes control in mid-third quarter, fourth quarter. A 17, 21-point game. I don't see that as a blowout because if you pull away in the end, it's just, hey, depth and skill took over and Notre Dame wins. That's where I have it. And again, moving on to that Tennessee game, how are you going to come off of that loss? Are you going to keep that streak alive against Tennessee, not let them get revenge? But to me, revenge, Tennessee, they're, Heupel's wanting to take a step up in his hierarchy of SEC coaches. He wants to get Tennessee to that next level in the SEC. Again, the defensive woes, I'm solely basing this off of what I think with that Ole Miss game, how I see them playing. I give Tennessee the edge. I just think you got Ole Miss, Memphis, Notre Dame, and then Tennessee. We'll see what happens because I believe they come off a bye week that week. Arkansas's not really proven much coming off bye week. So we think bye week helps them, energize them. I don't see this helping out their cause.
I think this game for both of them heading into this, it meant more before the season, just for the fact that you were thinking that Nico was going to get his revenge this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you've got, Nico and his brother Madden that spurned both schools, took off to UCLA, and left Tennessee scrambling, obviously more than Arkansas was left. There's a lot of unknown with Tennessee's quarterback, who he is. They weren't expecting for him to be the starter. it's one of those things that by week or by game 6, they'll have figured out if it's him or if it's somebody else. I think that Heupel and the rest of the players will be out for revenge this game because of last season, and for the fact that it's in Tennessee. It's one of those games that I think that Heupel's going to pull out all the stops for this game just because of Arkansas beating number 4 Tennessee last year in Fayetteville. I think that this game could get ugly depending on where our defense is at this point in game. This game, Arkansas hasn't proven that they can get in shootouts. So what can your defense do to step up in a game like this?
Yeah. And having to play, at Tennessee, and depending on the time, I mean, what happens with, the timing, is this going to be a big game for Tennessee? How are they going to be at this point? Because now you're into, I would say, close to middle of October. Where's Tennessee going to be at? A lot of this is going to change projections of other teams, not necessarily the score, but if Tennessee comes into this thing vying for a spot in the college football playoff, vying for a chance to where they're trying to move up in the rankings, depending on what they have left in their season, you might starting getting the best of each team moving forward. You might get a Tennessee team that's starting to peak. They knew last year not to let up because of Malachi coming in there and winning the game at the last minute. They've learned from that. Let's see how that plays out.
Transplanted, you have it, how has Arkansas typically performs? So luckily we haven't played Tennessee a heck of a lot in retrospect to other teams. And I pulled up the win-loss on Winsipedia. So, Arkansas in the last 4 games, they're 4-0.
Yep.
One of those were in Tennessee and Arkansas won. Prior to that, Tennessee won essentially every other game in Knoxville except for one. So Arkansas has only won 2 games in Knoxville. It's one of those that it doesn't fare well for you. Yes, the recent history is in Arkansas's favor, but still in the overall history, it's not in Arkansas's favor by any means.
And then, the following week, A&M, I solely predict this just solely on got to find a way to win this. And you've let A&M, even on years where you were the better team. Now you're playing this at Fayetteville. This is finally, okay, we're finally out of Jerry World. We got this going on, but a lot of this has to do with the depth. A lot of this has to do with where A&M is. But my main point is, until you can win this game, you have to prove to me you can get this monkey off your back of beating A&M. That's where I see this, and I'll finish that up with the Missouri. I'll say the same kind of thing. But I have the A&M game as a loss, and until Arkansas can find a way to win these games, I'm going to have them as a loss.
This is one that doesn't go in Arkansas's favor, just like the Missouri game, like you said. This game is usually funky. Something happens weird, something at play. Somebody tries to Superman over the goal line and fumbles for a 99-yard return, or fumbling elsewhere. Bad ref calls a punter running a punt for a 50-something yard touchdown years ago. There's always something weird in these games. Typically, it doesn't go in Arkansas's favor. Yes, it's finally back in Fayetteville. We're out of Jerry World. I still feel like, and this is going back to the COVID season or the season after that, where we played the 10-game SEC schedule. That game should have been in Fayetteville, and it was at Texas A&M. I feel like we're owed a game there. I feel like we need 2 home games versus Texas A&M getting a home and home. This is one until Arkansas can beat Texas A&M outside of the 2021 season. It's not gone well for Arkansas, and I never have good feeling about this game just because of all the weird things that have happened in the past. So until Arkansas can stop Arkansasing, if you will, I don't have them winning this game.
Well, and another thing, that's where how has Taylor Green progressed as a quarterback? And can he hold on to the ball? How is he going to be able to stand up, like trust his wide receivers to get over, trust his O line to block? Where's the O line in this? How have they been blocking? Have you been able to get the run game going? How has other teams prepared for you? Are you, switching up at halftime? Are you making adjustments? We're going to know a lot about this team come this point in the season, but so does the other teams. They know how you are. Now, I mean, you said funky. This is one of them games where, you've got to not fumble the ball. You cannot turn the ball over, especially in this game, because we see how one turnover can totally change the outcome of this game. And again, it's one of those things. Something always happens, and they find a way to lose this game. So that's why I'm going with that.
Mm-hmm. And yes, this will be the game that they honor Derek McFadden, unveil his number, all that. So there will be ceremonies going on.
And you can almost say this could be a swing game.
Mm-hmm.
You're at the midpoint of the season. This is a game that you're used to losing. And if you somehow win this, you build momentum off. You win this game, then you go, as we have the next 2 games, 2-3 wins. You could possibly, you always play LSU hard. Depending on where Texas is, there's a lot of people who's not really sold on Arch Manning. You could use this as your swing game to, all right, we're going to prove us wrong. I'm not going to say everybody, I'm speaking for us, prove us wrong. We're going to finish this out. How does this team want to roll? How does Sam Pittman want to carry on as a legacy, or how does he want to end his legacy at Arkansas?
Going into this Auburn game, it's one of those that Hugh Freeze is on a hotter seat than Sam Pittman.
Yep.
After last year at Auburn, bad taste in their mouth, whatever. I'm not sold on Auburn. I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on Levy and Mississippi State. So, these next 2, I'm not saying that they're going to be won handily, but at the same time, I don't feel like there's any reason to have deep-seated fears about losing either 2 of these games unless something drastic happens between now and then.
Yeah, same. I mean, we can just go ahead and couple Mississippi State and Auburn in the same sense of, you're not the worst team in the conference. These are games where both programs are down. They're trying to rebuild their programs, and the talent. You have more talent on both sides of the ball. If healthy, yeah, I see both of these as wins. And it sets up for that 3-game gauntlet at the end, which we start with LSU. LSU is very talented, which I'm going to see that firsthand on how talented they are this weekend when they go to Clemson and play my Tigers against their Tigers. But I just think with a lot of talk about Nussmeier, there's a lot of questions on how, he could be a Heisman front runner at this point of the year. This team can be rolling 2 games or 3 games left in the season. We know how competitive the top end of that SEC is. So you're playing for not only a chance to play in the SEC championship, you're playing for seeding in the college football playoff. I just see this as a loss, and I don't see this as a close win.
This is something that, again, these games are either weird and close, or Arkansas wins, or we get embarrassed in a sense. I'm not sold on Nussmeier being a Heisman candidate. I know some are. I'm not knocking him by any means.
Yeah.
I look at Lenore Sellers as the best quarterback in the SEC out of South Carolina. Again, nothing against Nussmeier, but this team all around, it's becoming a point for Brian Kelly because LSU is at a different level than Arkansas. There are different standards than Arkansas. It's getting time for Brian Kelly to either get to a national championship game or find a new home. And this is one of those that I think this season is going to be a lot in the proving grounds for LSU. I don't think that this game is going to be pretty for Arkansas, and I've got it as a loss.
Yeah. And the one thing that kind of helps Arkansas, this is an early 11 a.m. noon kickoff. So, I mean, that's what flex or schedule they have for them. but it is Arkansas. And I think it's one of these that Arkansas gets under their skin. Arkansas sees LSU as a rival. These next two games are similar fashion. Arkansas sees these teams as rivals, not so much on the other end. They always find a way to get underneath their skin. They're like the chigger and underneath the skin of LSU and Texas. And kind of like we were just talking about Auburn, Mississippi State on one side, I am doing the exact same thing on this side. Is you're going at LSU, at Texas, and just the firepower, what they are as programs. A lot of my predictions when I went 5 wins is solely based on you are potentially going to have to outscore everybody you play. Can you outscore LSU? Can you outscore Texas? There's some of these teams that, I mean, maybe the Tennessee or Texas A&M game, but I just don't see Arkansas outscoring LSU. And then the following week, November 22nd in Austin, I see, depending on how this is, it could be a 7:00 game. If this is a night game in Austin, the chances of Arkansas winning this game is very slim to me.
This is one that I don't think is going to be too pretty in Austin, especially if it's a night game. This is one that, what was it, 20-10 last season in Fayetteville, I believe, something like that. Outside of Sark's first game against Arkansas at Texas, that Arkansas won 40-21 or whatever it was. I think that game, even though it was his first year, left a bad taste in his mouth. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those that he knows the rivalry, he knows the history, Southwest Conference, he knows what this game means, and he knows what would happen if he lost another game to Arkansas, especially now that Texas is in the position that they're in, preseason number 1. Who knows what they'll be at this point in time? But it's one of those things that the task is too daunting for Arkansas to overcome.
Yep. And then final week, the regular season, Missouri. Missouri is one of those, with their schedule, they could potentially be vying for a 12 seed or 11 seed in the college football playoff. And we know Drink's not going to overlook anything when it comes to Arkansas. Now, granted, it's in Fayetteville. It's a night game. Crazy things have happened. It's your last game in Fayetteville. A lot of this will come down to where is Arkansas at in the season. If we go by our record and they're sitting at 5-6 going into this game, I don't think that we're going to will a win and we're going to win this game to go 6-6, because they've proven in the past that, other than the 21 year where they did, what happens? And so I just have this game as a loss. They end their season 5-7, and then we will see the decision that Hunter Yurachek will have to make, because if they finish this 5-7, it's a tough decision he's going to have to make. I'm not on our end, not a tough decision, but for him, I think it's going to be tough for him.
Oh, where to begin? This game right here. So first off, I'll just it's one of those that if you're going into this game and you've got to win to make a bowl game, I don't think it goes in your favor. I don't think it's going to go in your favor to begin with. I have this up as a loss. It's just a matter of what Arkansas team shows up against Missouri. Next part is I obviously want more than anything for Arkansas to shut up Eli Drinkwitz. I'm tired of looking at him, as DP calls him, his revenge of the nerds self. Yep. Like, I'm sick of it. He's got Arkansas's number. He knows how to troll Arkansas. He knows how to recruit Arkansas. He's just as petty towards Arkansas as I am about a lot of things, as transplanted Texans like to say. Petty recognizes petty. This is one of those things that he needs to be smacked in the mouth. What's the best way to do it is to go out there and beat Missouri. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to happen. I would honestly love for one of our players, let's pull a page out of Remember the Titans. Yep. Make a big play, run over to the sideline, and then just point at Eli Drinkwitz's face. Yep. Just point at him and stare him down. I'm sick of this dude. I will always be sick of this dude. At the same time, I've got to respect him to the extent of he's got Arkansas's number. But it doesn't mean I'm going to like you. So
Yep.
at the same time, I don't think it's going to be a win, but I would love for Arkansas to shut him up.
Yeah. So that does it with the segment. We have our overall record at 5-7. The over under on the year is 5.5. I mean, there's a lot of people, and maybe they're doing this by proxy. Don't know. A lot of people are counting things out, but a lot of it has to do with the defense. There's a lot of things that we're hearing from the defensive side of the ball. They just don't have the depth. And you need this with this gauntlet of a schedule. Sam Pittman is scared of a 9-game SEC, rightfully so, because it's difficult enough as it is to have an 8-game SEC slate. He don't want that, and we'll see what happens if predictions come true, but we will gladly eat crow if this leads to a 7. But my biggest fear, Adam, is Arkansas's 5-6 heading into the Missouri game. Hunter Yurachek comes into the locker room, gives a rally cry. If Arkansas beats Missouri and we find a way to beat Missouri, win that Battle Line trophy, win it for Sam, and he gets to stay after a 6-6 season.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. I think you would have a full-on rebellion if you come out of this with a 5-7, 6-6, or a 6-6 win season, and you get to the Tax Slayer Bowl or whatever else is out there, then you've now solidified what we've all been saying for the past few years. At this point in time, if that happens, I will personally autograph my mediocrity, live it, love it, deal with it t-shirt that I have so proudly worn. I will personally autograph that and mail it to Hunter Yurachek myself.
There you go. We'll clip that part up. But yeah, also, I mean, I want to bring up before we go to a quick break and finish up, the part that he says he didn't want a 9-game schedule tells me, why would you want to move forward if you know your schedule is going to get harder? He don't want it. I would lie. Don't say it out loud. Say that, but you're publicly saying, well, I just don't want it. And then your athletic director is like, we're welcoming these 9 games. We love the revenue. We love the money. Then you go to the coach. He's like, well, I don't want it. You're scared of the 9-game schedule. That's fine. Your program's not feasible to do a 9-game SEC slate. So then we need to bring somebody in who wants a 9-game schedule, who wants to embrace the new waves, who wants to give Arkansas a chance where they can withstand a 9-game SEC schedule. So, I mean, that was just my opinion on the comments, but we'll see. Long season, it's finally here. We're finally here to where we can talk ball when we come on Sunday. Again, now that's a new thing. We're going to start going back to our Sunday schedule. Now that football is here, we have game, talk about the game. We'll have 6:05 us, but yeah, it's go time.
100%. Like I said, put up or shut up time. We'll have definitely a lot of opinions come Sunday. So, we'll have this followed by HQ Live. So there will be a lot of football talk Sunday evenings for the foreseeable future.
And guys, if you're like us, Saturdays are for the Hogs, Sundays are for NFL. And with FanDuel, you can bet like a pro, whether you're stacking a game parlay on college or sweating a last-minute field goal in the NFL. FanDuel puts the power in your hand with live odds, quick bets, and easy cash outs. New customers even score bonus bets just for signing up. So if you call the Hogs or ride or die with your favorite NFL squad, make every down count, bet college, bet pro, bet FanDuel. And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, hear a word from our sponsor, Vision Exteriors, and then we'll run down our pick'ems for the week and highlight a few other games presented to you by FanDuel. Looking to enhance your home's curb appeal? Look no further than Vision Exteriors. As your trusted roofing, siding, and exterior experts, we're here to transform your property. Our skilled team ensures your job is not only functional but also aesthetically pleasing. Along with roofing, we also offer window, gutter, and siding installation to boost your home's appearance with our quality options. Visit us at www.visionexteriors.com or call us at 479-397-4770. Let's make your vision a reality. And welcome back to Hog Podcast, powered by FanDuel, and we will get into our Pick'em contest. Adam, reigning champ. I started off strong. I got you in the first half, but went way downhill after that. But we have 4 games to choose from. In week 1, we have the Arkansas Alabama A&M game, Texas Ohio State, LSU Clemson, and then Notre Dame Miami. Adam, I'll let you take it away.
So yeah, starting off, we've all got Arkansas over Alabama A&M. I think that one's pretty cut and dry. This is actually funny, which the other guys just found out earlier this week. They thought it was funny that I usually take this and I predict y'all's schedule or y'all's picks first, and then to see how close I am to it. And I always know you're going with Clemson. Yeah. But, I've got Arkansas on this one. Just moving right on, Texas, Ohio State. This is one that it's one of those. It's like you and I have talked about. This is a game that they've got the 1.5 point favorite for Ohio State. It's in Ohio. I've got them rocking this one. I'm not saying that it's going to be a blowout by any means when I say they're rocking it, but Ohio State's got this. And moving on to LSU Clemson, I know that's your team. Clemson is your pride and joy outside of Arkansas. So this is one that I'm just not betting against the SEC in this. And this is one that I've got LSU. Brian Kelly's got a lot to prove this season. So I'm rolling with them on it. And Notre Dame, we all bet this one. There's a lot of unknown with Miami. Replacing Cam Ward. This is one that I think Notre Dame goes to Miami. I believe it's at Miami and just goes in and clean slate, easy. I'm not going to say it's an easy game, but this is going to be one that Notre Dame, I don't see has too many issues with.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead. I'll start with Texas, Ohio State. I really think 1.5 point favorite, but it's in Columbus. We don't know really just how good Arch Manning is. It's in the horseshoe. I just see with Ohio State winning a national championship and then still hearing about the SEC. Ryan Day, as much as you want to love him, hate him, he's up there with the ones in his fake Hulk Hogan, NWO beard, whatever. But you got to respect him and what he's done. And I just think Ohio State in the end pulls it out. Pretty much toss up that it is a home game. Ohio State wins this one. And then, of course, LSU Clemson. I'm never going to pick against Clemson, but they have a very, very stout defense. They have a huge wide receiver room. And this is going to be a battle. There's a lot of talk about Klubnik and Nussmeier. Which one's going to will their way to win? I think Clemson holds on to win this game close, but Clemson beats LSU. Notre Dame, Miami. I don't think that this will be a game. I think Notre Dame handles them. I just think that proven pedigree of Notre Dame knows how to win. They know how to get to the college football playoff. Yes, they piss it down their leg when they get there, but one of these things that Notre Dame's on a mission to prove they're going to get back to the college football playoff. They handily beat Miami by 21 points.
That's something that we'll see what happens. We'll start with just the 4 college games, and then like last season, once NFL gets rolling, we will add in the Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night football games. So we'll go up to about 7 picks per. But this is where we're at right now. Pick'em season is here, and y'all can come for the belt if you want.
We'll try our best, but FanDuel, they're giving us this opportunity to, do the bets, the live over under spreads. Again, with last year, it was first year doing, I'm not really been a bettor. I'm not had really good luck betting over under point spread, but if you are into that, FanDuel's got you covered with everything over under point spread. They have fantasy, I know there's some states that don't have it. You could still get in on the fantasy side of it. So, but yeah, you got the Alabama Florida State game. Now, here, I think this is going to be a blowout. So, my lock, you got a 13.5 point favorite. I think they're going to treat this like any other one of these preseason games where, not preseason, week one, where they're playing a Wisconsin or USC. I think Alabama takes them to the woodshed. They're going to prove that they're back. They're going to prove that, they narrowly missed. And I will admit, now that the season's over and I can, which I think I did last year, if it wasn't for Syracuse beating Syracuse beating Miami and giving Clemson that chance to play for the conference championship, Alabama would have been in the college football playoff. That's just how that played out. Clemson beat SMU, knocked Alabama out. But I mean, you could even go over the 50 point. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's a blowout. I think, another hot seat coach there. We've already talked about the LSU Clemson game, Notre Dame, Miami, Florida. This one right here, 2.5 point favorite over under 49. Again, two big locks right there. You can get on right there. 2.5 point favorite, lock in 49.5 over under. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to explode. There's a lot of teams on here that have a lot to prove this year, and those are mine. So, Adam, I mean, are you taking? Let's go. Let's just start with the Notre Dame. Would you think are you going over under, or are you going point spread on this one?
I'm taking Notre Dame in the over on this one. I think that this is one that I think that Notre Dame will win by more than 2.5. Mm-hmm. So that one I wouldn't trust doing the over under the 49.5. I wouldn't trust that. That could go either way. So I would take Notre Dame at 2.5.
And then let's find, like we go back to the LSU Clemson. I mean, that is a 3.5 points. So pretty much Clemson wins by 4 over under. But if I was to go lock, I would go to the 57.5. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I really do. So if I was to go either way, I think it's going to be a 7-point game either way. I don't see it's going to be a touchdown more margin, but I think Clemson holds on. But if I was to go with the lock, I will pick the over 57.5 on that. And then we talked about the Alabama, Florida State.
Seeing on that one, I think you can go either or in Alabama's favor. I think you're going to go over 50.5. And I think you're going to, Alabama's going to win by 14 or more points. I think you're safe bet on either one of those.
Yep. I think that would be a lock. And then, of course, let's go back to the big game, 11 o'clock. Hey, YouTube TV, thank you. You extended the dispute, so we're going to be able to watch this 11 o'clock. Way to kick off week one. I don't know if there's ever been a big matchup like this. Very first game, 11 o'clock in the morning, Texas, Ohio State, 1.5 point favorite Ohio State, over under 47.5. I think I will go with if I was to pick a lock, I will go Ohio State winning, covering that 1.5.
I'm going to roll with that. I think that if you wanted to go the over under in this, I would go over just for the simple fact that both teams have proven that they can score. I'm not going to say score at will, but they've always been high powered. So no matter the quarterback, no matter the team. So this is one I think you could go. I would, in this, my safer bet would be to take Ohio State. But if you wanted to, I would take the over in it also.
Yeah. Exciting week one of college football. And again, we're here. We get football from now until February, if you want to count NFL. So guys, summertime's over. And we really, again, want to thank FanDuel for partnering up. All shows, FanDuel, we're going to bring you a lot more clips. We're going to bring you a lot more picks. Adam, he gets to hold on to that belt, maybe hold on to it for another year.
See.
But, Adam, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. And before we go again, guys, FanDuel is the way to go. They have live odds, puts the power in your hands, quick bets, easy cash outs. New customers, score bonus bets just for signing up. So if you're like us, call the Hogs, or Adam, you ride or die with your Ravens. Make every down count. Bet college, bet pro, bet fan, duel. And for that, we are out for our 2025 season predictions. We'll see how things hold up. Are we right? Are we getting a new coach? Or are we eating crow come November?
We'll see.
Guys, we'll catch you on Sunday, 6:05, Hog Talk, 8:05, Hog HQ. Everybody have a great Labor Day, official end to the summer, and we'll catch you.